Hello and welcome to Ellen Ruth Soap. I'm Ellen and today we're not making soap, we're going to make bath bombs and I'm so excited. It's been a while since I've made bath bombs, so I got to get on it. And today the fragrance we're going to use is Sweet Pea from Be Scented. I have my notes on the side here. It says it causes mild ricing, soap cool. It just had some clauses on there where I thought, you know, I'm not going to soap with this. We're going to make bath bombs, which is a great way to use fragrances that don't play well in cold process soap. Bath bombs are an awesome option. So that's the fragrance. And so for the colors today, I want to do two different colors in one mold. Let me show you the mold first, then we'll do the colors. I got this mold from Be Scented also, and it is, let me pull it apart. Isn't that beautiful? It's like a little daisy flower. So pretty. And I'm going to use my manual bath bomb press. I'll show you that when we get into it. I'm not sponsored by Be Scented or the Bath Bomb Express Press. I just like it. I purchased all these on my own. So this is just some equipment that I like to use personally. So I got the fragrance colors. Yeah. Can't forget the colors. I want to use this Sunburst Sparkle Mica from Rustic Essentials. Isn't that beautiful? And then also I'm going to use a Fairy Tale Pink Mica from Wholesale Supplies Plus in our daisy flowers. So I don't think I'm going to try and like get the pink in the petals and be really specific. I'm just going to take a handful of the yellow and a handful of the pink, and so each pretty daisy bath bomb will have two colors in there. And there it is. It's just so pretty. It's happy. This fragrance is very light and floral. I think these are pretty feminine, the flower, press, so it's a girly girl bath bomb today. So let me get everything pulled together and I will be sharing the full recipe in the description box down below. But I've got to get my studio equipment and everything sanitized, pulled out, ready to go, and we're going to come back and make some really pretty flowery bath bombs. All right, we are back and it's time to get into bath bomb making. There are so many recipes on the internet, and if you live in a different part of the country from me, I am in Middle Tennessee. At the time of making this, it is very humid outside, and so if you're in a drier climate, or if you're down in Miami or in a tropical environment, bath bomb recipes might need to be a little tweaked depending on where you're making your bath bombs. But this is my standard recipe that I love to use, and I will share it all written down below in the description box. But this one works for me. So if you try this recipe and it's a little crumbly or it's not wet enough, it might be the climate that you're making it in, and just tweaking a little bit of the dry ingredients to the ratio of wet ingredients will help. So you kind of have to play around with it. So all that being said, I like to have my big mixing bowl out here so that I can really work it around. This is a smaller recipe. I don't need a big bowl like this, but I prefer a big bowl. And then let me set this off to the side. I have my hand press. This is from a company called Bath Bombs Express. I bought this on my own. It was not given to me. And it just makes pressing the bombs a little bit easier for me with my wrists, but I will do one by hand. You can very easily, with this little 3D bath bomb mold, you can very easily hand press these and get them out, and they'll be beautiful. This is not necessary. I just find it a little bit helpful when I'm making a lot of bath bombs. It's a little easier on my wrist, but anyway, there's that. And now let's talk about the ingredients. The first thing that I need to do here is sift my dry ingredients together and make sure all the clumps are out. Baking soda can get kind of clumpy and such. So this is my citric acid. I'm going to set this off to the side until I get the liquid and the dry ingredients incorporated. I'll add the citric acid last. But what I have going on here is 680 grams of baking soda. And then in here are all my other little dry ingredients that help, and they all have different purposes. I have 28 grams of cream of tartar, 28 grams of SLSA, and 28 grams of white kaolin clay. That's what's going on in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just dump that in my sieve, and then I'll start adding my baking soda and just get this sifted through. And you want to have a ventilation mask on or stand back with the SLSA. It's very powdery and airborne. So this is kind of a boring part. I'll fast forward through just sifting all these to make sure, all the clumps are out. right, there are all the dry ingredients sifted well together, and it just makes hand mixing easier. If you don't have a sifter or you're anxious, you can break all those clumps up by hand, but I love having a fine powder to work with. I think it blends up easier. So here is my liquid portion to go in here. And let me tell you what I've got here is I am using about 3% fragrance oil in here. Definitely want to look up your fragrance. And as of now, when I'm making this video, bath bombs are a category 9 on the IFRA listing of fragrance percentages. So with that being said, I could add up to 6% fragrance, but that would be too wet. I'm doing a 3% fragrance, all that being said. So for this sweet pea fragrance, I'm doing 37 grams of fragrance in here. I have 14 grams of witch hazel, 14 grams of polysorbate 80, and 14 grams of grapeseed oil. And let's get that blended in, and here comes the mixing part. You just have to get your hands in here and work it up to a nice consistency, and then we're going to split it for our colors and get to pressing these little bath bombs. And they just smell pretty. I don't know how else to describe it. It just smells lovely. So when I'm blending, I like to grab a handful and kind of do that, and it breaks up any liquid chunks in there and gets it blended with the powder chunks. You could also use a stand mixer for this if you wanted to. I just figured I'd do it by hand today because, you know, I'm talking through the whole thing and the stand mixer's kind of loud, but stand mixers work fabulous for bath bombs. If you have those whisk attachments, they're fabulous. And this is going to feel a little bit wet because we haven't added our citric acid in here yet. And because I'm using witch hazel, which is very liquidy, I hold the citric acid off so that I don't activate the fizziness. If you are using a denser, like the oil won't activate the citric acid. The fragrance oil can a little bit, so you want to be careful of that. But if you are using a surfactant in here or something thicker, like a liquid soap for more bubbles. The SLSA that I added is what adds bubbles in this. But those things won't activate citric acid, but alcohol, witch hazel, water, that will activate your citric acid. So you want to make sure it's all combined up before you go ahead and add it in if you're using one of those ingredients. And this is a feel. I can't tell you, I can feel when I'm rubbing it that there's still chunks of wetness in here, that they feel different, but it's very coarse and sandy feeling, and I'm just really feeling to make sure that I don't have clumps. All right, that feels pretty evenly blended. Get this off my hands. All right, and in goes our citric acid, and I have 425 grams of citric acid. All right, let's give it a pinch test here, or a squeeze test, and it's holding together really nicely. So I think we are good to go. You want it to be able to hold together and then also break apart. That's what you're looking for. So this looks about perfect. Now, let me pull over my 2 containers, and I'm not gonna weigh these out. I'm just gonna eyeball and try to get a good 50-50 split here. So our first color here is this Sunburst Sparkle Mica from Rustic Essentials. Isn't that just the prettiest? So I am just going to eyeball. This is probably about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to sprinkle it on there, maybe a little more. So the polysorbate in the liquid portion is going to help this mica rinse out of your bathtub and not leave a little ring around the edge. That's what the polysorbate 80 does, and there's oil in here, so it's going to emulsify in your bath water and rinse really cleanly. And here we go. So pretty. That's just the word that I'm describing these bath bombs. Pretty. I love it. All right, I'm keeping my colors off to the side in case I want to incorporate any more, but right now let's get this blended up and see how it's looking. This is a kind of a, you know, it's just your taste, how you like it. Oh, I think that's beautiful. Looks like the color of lemon sherbet to me. I love it. Okay, let's see how this color comes out. All right, I am very happy with these two colors. I think they look sweet pea pretty, and I think they're going to be beautiful together. So now let's get our press over here. I just have an old paper plate here that I use for bath bombs. I dust it off each time, but it just catches any of the extra bath bomb fluff as I'm filling this. So with this kind of a press, it has an outer ring, and usually one side will have a design and one side is plain. It just depends on the bath bomb you have, but if you have a decorative one, that's usually how it is. So I like to put the ring down, put the decorative side so the flower goes down. This is going to be the back side, and we're going to fill it up. And so this is just however you like to do it. Do like half one color, half the other, and now we want to go ahead and fill this up as far as, you know, probably a little less than level. This is a little different than making a globe bath bomb, because those, when you're hand pressing, you need to kind of overpack them and stuff it down. But this is a little bit different because you have the lid that's going to go on. Press it down here, and let's get it over to our press. And then you just press down on the lever several times. And it sort of just makes a nice, applies a nice even press around the entire bath bomb here, so you don't have one side that's packed and one side that's not. I find these very convenient. Okay, and now I'm going to take my spoon, kind of like you would with a round bath bomb. I like to tap it up. I'll go ahead and slide this off. I got my tray to put it on, gotta remember that. There is our flower. A little bit of a swirl, but oh, how beautiful. Love it. All right, let's get the bottom off. And there we go. It's gonna go on the tray. And I'm going to let these sit on this tray for a good 48 or so hours to just really harden up before I even come into package. Let's press one by hand, and I'll show you that you can get just as beautiful of a press by hand. You don't need the little machine. If you don't have one, you're totally fine. All right, so I just, with the heel of my hand, press down with my body weight. And then when I'm doing it by hand, I flip it, put the ring down, and then press both ways. And I'll do that a couple of times. All right. And there we go. Oh, these are so pretty. They make me happy. And now we just need to press the rest of these up. are back. It's been a couple of days to let these fully dry out so they're nice and rock hard, and I just think they're so pretty and they smell great. So what we got here is 8 over 4.5 ounces or 138 gram bath bombs. These are nice hefty size, and a little half bomb, which we're going to do a test on it. I just had a little extra. It cracked because I hand packed this down and I didn't pack it very hard, but it's still good and hard, and so we'll be testing this today. But there they are. I'm going to shrink wrap these and use a 2-inch round label on the bottom of them. That's how I do my bath bombs, and I really do prefer shrink wrap instead of paper. That way no humidity can get in. It really seals them up. They last a good long time. They keep the hardness. So anyway, that's how we'll wrap, and let's do a little bath bomb test with this one. And again, I just want to show you how nice these are. Really hard, so they do harden up great, but about 48 hours. So I'd give these at least 48 to 72 hours to get to a nice hard consistency. All right, here we go. One of the things I love about this recipe is it's a slower bubble. It's not super fast and explosive. I like that. It's a nice longer lasting bath bomb. It's still going, and this was just a half size. And I love this creamy lather. It feels really soft. It's moisturizing because of the grapeseed oil, but it doesn't feel slip or slickery. It's just really soft and luxurious feeling. So I think these bath bombs are fabulous. And personally, I like the soft color in here. I don't over mica my bath bombs because I don't know, I don't particularly like colored water. This is just a gentle sort of pink left behind. There we go. It's still going, but it's not going to overcolor your bath water, which I actually prefer. So I really love how these came out, and I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. And if you give it a try, let me know how you like it and what climate you're doing the bath bomb in. I would love to hear some input from you all. And again, I thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.